Good morning, my name is Clint, and today we'll be discussing pre-established characters in video games. How starting with a pre-established character can change how you play the game. A pre-established character is basically a character that already has a backstory and history to them when we start the game. Think Geralt from The Witcher 3, as opposed to the blank slate of the protagonist from Skyrim as an example. Even when we can make choices as this character, they already have a solid foundation for who they are. So in The Witcher 3 you aren't role-playing as yourself, or as a character that you have made up, you are role-playing as Geralt, a character that already exists. So we're going to start today with a fun term, narrative dissonance. Narrative dissonance is a term used for when your protagonist acts differently in a cutscene than the player acts during gameplay, when the player's gameplay directly contradicts the character that you are playing. When a game like GTA 4 gives you the ability to run over pedestrians, it is hard then, for some, to believe GTA 4's protagonist, Niko Bellic, when he claims that he's trying to be a better person, after he just spent the last few hours driving on the sidewalk mowing down civilians. LA Noire tried to remedy this by having NPCs awkwardly jump out of the way when you drive on the sidewalk. So, no narrative dissonance here, right? But this was achieved by taking a small amount of player agency away from the player in the process. It didn't stop us from driving on the sidewalk to see if we could hit a civilian, it just meant we couldn't. People jumping out of the way of incoming traffic with superhuman reflexes is super realistic after all. Definitely less immersion breaking than actually hitting them. In reality, it only takes a small amount of sense of disbelief to separate the actions of our in-game character in the cutscenes and these self-directed moments of vehicular manslaughter. We have the surprising ability in games to ignore these moments when it comes to building a game's narrative in our head. If I picked up a rocket launcher as Niko Bellic in GTA 4 and went on a rampage, this moment isn't suddenly seared into the history of Niko Bellic's story, it's sectioned off in my head canon as a moment outside of the narrative. Like an ad break interrupting your favourite show. It might have happened in between major story beats, but it did not impact the story itself. It's not canon to the story being told, so I can just ignore it. GTA 5 employed a different technique to avoid narrative dissonance. Rather than limiting what its characters could do, they gave the player 3 separate characters. One of these characters being particularly important to solving the supposed issues of narrative dissonance. Trevor. Trevor is a methed out psychopath. If you want to go wild and cause a rampage in GTA 5, he is the vessel that you can do so with without triggering that dreaded narrative dissonance. When you play as GTA 5's other protagonists, both Franklin and Michael, you tend to stick to the roads because they're good boys. But with Trevor, you have free reign over that sidewalk, because it feels like something Trevor would do. Playing as Trevor encouraged me to do more wild stuff in GTA 5 than I ever did in GTA 4, because it made sense to do crazy stuff when playing as Trevor. When playing as a pre-established character, you begin to make choices based on how you see that character. The strength of that character dictates how you play the game. In many games with blank slate player created characters, there is a binary to your choices, a kind of good and bad option that the player can choose. You pick the one that makes sense for the character that you are playing as. A hero does the right thing, a villain does the bad thing, that sort of thing. One reoccurring example of this is when a player can ask an NPC for more money or a reward for their efforts in game. This is often seen as the evil choice, netting the player evil points. A hero would help an NPC from the kindness of their own hearts. A villain would take that money. In The Witcher 3, however, Geralt is a monster hunter for hire. It's his job, and it's part of his creed to expect payment. So when the game offers the player the option to ask for money from an NPC for their work, it is in character for him to do so. As the nondescript blank protagonist in any other game, you'd typically choose not to. Again, a hero doesn't ask for a reward. But when you're playing as Geralt, it feels true to his character to ask for money in return for his services. You end up picking dialogue options based on what you think Geralt would do, rather than what you would do, or what you think a hero would do, therefore changing the way that you interact with the game. Another main cause of narrative dissonance is when the main quest has a ticking clock. This discourages side activities in the game as they feel like your hero is suddenly avoiding the important main quest. The end of the world is looming, but the protagonist is wasting time playing minigames and completing pointless side quests. In The Witcher 3, Geralt is hot on the heels of finding his missing daughter Ciri. The plot is driving you to find her. The wild hunt and the end of the world is coming. But The Witcher 3 also features an addictive minigame in the form of the card game Gwent. Geralt's story for the next 15 hours is him ignoring his missing daughter and the impending doom, so they can travel from town to town looking for a round of Gwent and earning some sweet new cards in the process. It'd be like if Thanos was out there actively hunting the final Infinity Stone, and Iron Man suddenly got addicted to Magic the Gathering. Red Dead Redemption 2's protagonist Arthur actually encourages the player to engage with the game's side activities, because that feels like what Arthur would want. His character is almost purpose-built to encourage players to engage with these optional activities, almost as though these side activities are relevant and purposefully designed to fit Arthur's character. Arthur, like Geralt, is a kind of handyman. The game shows you that he is someone who enjoys hunting for food, providing for his makeshift family, the Vanderland gang. While there is almost no in-game reward for helping the gang around the camp, it only feels right to pitch in whenever you're around, to bring home the occasional buck to feed the crew before heading out onto your next mission. Not because you need to, but because it feels like something Arthur would want to do. Rather than having a world-ending ticking clock looming over the player, Red Dead Redemption 2's plot can be moved forward at any time without it feeling like you're doing the wrong thing by ignoring it. The game feels like Arthur has ample time between tackling main missions to do his own thing. Red Dead Redemption 2 even gives you a reason to put off the main quests, as most of these main missions start to go south. You feel this sense that inevitably one of these heists are going to go really wrong, that this cozy camp that you've found yourself in could be disrupted. As the plot drives forward, things aren't necessarily going to get better for them. This feeling is especially true when the game takes away one of the core drives to actually complete these missions. Money. After a particular heist, you end up with a lot of money. Enough for yourself and the gang to live pretty well. There's no longer any need to risk anyone's life. And the player has enough money to spend on whatever they would want in-game. The only thing driving the plot forward then is the gang leader Dutch, who is insisting that they need to keep getting richer so that they can start their own mango farm. But Arthur, and in turn the player, are becoming increasingly disenfranchised with Dutch. His constant need for more seems unnecessary and risky. Is this prophesized mango farm worth risking the life of the gang you've grown to love? So as the player, you start to ask yourself, what would my version of this depressed cowboy Arthur actually want? Would he want to rush headfirst into the next mission, risking everything that he's built? Or would Arthur rather just fuck off for an extended period of time to go birdwatching? The answer is obvious. I found myself, on numerous occasions, taking part in the game's most optional activities, purely because I felt like it was something that Arthur would want to be doing. Of course, I wanted to see where the story would lead, but first I'd give Arthur a shaggy beard and dress him in pelts from animals he'd recently hunted, and just disappear into the woods. I'd go birdwatching, filling up my compendium, hunting, finding things for Arthur to sketch in his journal. I'd allow Arthur to talk through his depression in camp with his makeshift family, and even attempt a few games of dominoes every now and again. I'd want to do this more and more as the story progressed, as I felt more and more like it was something that Arthur would want to do. When I felt like Arthur needed a mountain retreat, I'd take him there. His loyalty to the gang and my attachment to the story would eventually drag me back into the main quest, but the character of Arthur made me want to engage in the game's optional activities because it felt right for his story and his character to do so. So creating a strong character for the player to play as can change the way the player engages with the game. It can encourage the player to take part in the world's side activities, choose conversation options that they wouldn't normally pick, and prevent or encourage vehicular manslaughter depending on who you're playing as. It can lead the player away from the dreaded sense of narrative dissonance, towards interacting with the world as they believe that the character they are playing as would, forming a cohesive whole between all of the game's varying parts and encouraging the player to play differently. Giving a player a pre-existing character can create a very unique experience. The more varied these characters, the more interesting the worlds around them can be. the more unique gameplay can become, as we change our playstyles to match the shoes that we step into.